Your sounds for the holidays on 93.5 KOCA Laramie's home for the holidays, right here in Studio 255 at the Laramie Plains Civic Center. This segment brought to you in part by Mountain View Comprehensive Medicine. Taylor Baskin, we appreciate your support of the program. The Talk Shop here in Studio 255. Our guest this morning, Tom Mattimore. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you in studio. We did our last segment on the Laramie Rifle Range. Now want to move towards some of your other things that you're involved in. Tell us, introduce the audience, if you don't mind, Tom, once again to your involvement in the community. What are you involved with personally?
I am the chairman of the Laramie Planning Commission, and I am also a chief election judge, and I am a elected precinct committee man for the Republican Party in Albany County. And I also serve on other boards and commissions, the new Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee and outdoor groups because of the rifle range, and trying to think what else I do.
How's your work ethic, sir? How's your work ethic?
My
It's
work
pretty
ethic
powerful,
has
I'd
been
say.
good.
You're
Yeah.
pretty doggone active.
I stay pretty busy.
One of the things that impressed me this past year is not only do you sit and serve as chairman of the Planning Commission, but you were very present and active in what you as a commission sent and referred on to the city council. You were very active in follow-up, and you did a very comprehensive job of not only taking pride in what your commission had considered and all that had been discussed, but you were very important as a community member in that you didn't step aside, you didn't stay in the background, you maintained a posture, a position with respect to reminding future other elected leaders that you guys made recommendations, and the full recommendation was not necessarily being discussed, and where it was missed or whatnot, you were there to remind everybody, weren't you?
I try. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I agree with council and staff, and sometimes I don't. But I'll speak my piece. To me, this is a really
one of the topics that I remember I remember you speaking directly at was one city council meeting, and then at the firehouse there was a Fifth Tuesday meeting in July of 2025 that you were very clear and precise and mindful to make the public know more information, and one of the pieces of information surrounded the surface water management program and impervious surfaces and designations and some of those considerations and how those fees came to be adopted in December 4th, 2024 council proceedings, then implemented in July 1st of 2025 by utility bill, and that funding. The real position of our city government was to posture that by calling it a fee, they didn't have to lose tax support for, and I say tax,
yeah.
I say fee, I say tax, almost interchangeably, because by Wyoming statute 1610-105E, it stipulates that any adopted utility shall go to the electorate. Funding that utility shall go to the electorate and shall go to the voter, be presented to the voters for approval, yea or nay, on the plan. And
Well, no, not the plan, the fee.
well,
The voters approve the fee, not
they approve the fee, not how it's implemented. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very good correction. Thank you. So as that happened, city probably asleep at the wheel as citizens, not staying very active in the community proceedings, multiple readings, multiple conversations, multiple opportunities to give 3 minutes or less on a topic, or on multiple occasions, three or more minutes. But unanimously, the public got their utility bills, and it was quite a show of reaction. And the immediate result was on August 5th. Well, in July, there was important sharing. First of all, there was a great deal of public involvement, and when it ultimately came to be implemented, there was immense result in turnout of the public, and many were surprised. Many didn't know anything about it until their bill came. What do you think, as a leader of the Planning Commission, that can be done, perhaps mindfully, intentionally, more or less? Is it even possible to take away the surprise of our community on public administration topics?
Well, that gets down to the responsibility of the citizen. We live in a representative republic. If we lived in a democracy, vote for them, then get out of the way, do whatever they tell you. Right? But we live in a representative republic, so that doesn't mean they get to sit there and decide everything. That means the citizen has a responsibility to find out what the heck's going on and speak his piece about it. Now, the whole thing with the stormwater, I was on the focus group with the consultants and the engineers before it started. And the problem with that was, and I wasn't the only one, there were other people on the focus group who agreed and told him this, that yes, okay, you proved your case that the city needs improvement in the stormwater drainage system.
Okay.
That's plain as the nose on your face when it rains.
Been underfunded for 150 years.
And under-maintained.
Right.
So the problem is the engineers worked with the consultants. All right, the politicians came in last. When an engineer looks at a problem, they say, this is the problem. We need this material, this personnel, and this equipment to fix the problem. Now give me the money. Right? The trouble is it's $135 million.
Now, is that an annual cost, or is that to get us up to snuff?
That's what they estimate the total cost
to bring us up to
us up to standard.
Okay.
All right. Now, originally, we were in the focus group talking about a 30 to 40 year plan and stretch it out.
Right.
Now, engineers said, we got to fix the problem now. Being engineers, it's like a carpenter's.
Who guided that conversation, Tom?
The consultants.
The consultants were WSP, or
they're out of West Virginia.
Okay.
I mean, this is what they've done all over the country. It's not like Laramie was their first go around.
How much has the city invested in their services as a consultant so far?
I don't know the final number, but I bet it's upwards of 300,000.
Yeah, I think it's north of 400.
It may be by now.
So in that, seems like just recently in 2025 there was an extension, 40 or 50,000 additional proposed so that they could do this. Now, it's as a citizen, it's concerning to me that we would implement, after hundreds of thousands of dollars of study and consulting, we would implement a flawed plan. There's no question that it was a flawed plan.
The fee structure was definitely flawed.
It was a flawed plan from even the form to appeal was not readily available.
We told, and the focus group voted on this and said, do a flat fee, everybody pays the same, and no exceptions. Right?
And what was the response from that group?
It would not bring them in enough money. We proposed, there are 9,500 water meters in the city. And if you charged everybody $20 a piece, the city would take in, or the utility would take in $1.2 million. Now, granted, that's not enough, to do the entire project, but it's enough to get them equipment.
But and then
and
let's
get them-
face it, you can't take a 150-year developing problem, and you can't even write a check for 135 million
Yeah,
tomorrow and have it fixed the day after. It is going to take time to do, and therefore not all of that money has to be
all at once.
all
No.
at once, because it's not possible logistically to do that work at a snap of a finger.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
so-
there's a problem. We also, in the focus group, made it very plain that, yes, this is going to cost money, but if you want to get this passed and get this implemented, you are going to have to educate the public on the need, educate the public on the cost, and educate the public on how long and how much it's going to cost them. So if you don't do the education, and I use these exact words in the focus group, I said, if you don't educate the public, they're going to show up at the city council chambers with pitchforks and torches. All right. And I don't know if you saw me on the video, the first council meeting after the bills came in. And I said, basically, I told you so. I said they were going to show up their pitchforks and torches, and here they are.
Yeah. There was one citizen calling for an elected mayor, that our current mayor, Sharon Cumby, should be removed, and and so on and so forth. Passion was high.
Yes.
And some business members of the community had to pay $800 a month
That's
increase.
more than that. There were others.
And it was like $860 for one, and more for others. And the University of Wyoming has apparently started litigation against the surface water management program.
Yes, they have.
fee.
Also, there's a lawsuit going in Cheyenne because they implemented a very similar program.
Right.
So there's a lawsuit in Cheyenne. I don't know if Wildtech has joined the suit. I think the university's carrying. Wildtech was going to have to shell out $4,000 a month. And
So that's a substantial change. In the case of small business, it probably means going out of business in
It
some
could.
cases.
It
Some
could.
some operate at such a limited margin that it's not conceivable to make such an abrupt change. And yet in a 120-day pause, the city of Laramie city council members really didn't have all that many public discussions on this very important topic. There was a limited number in 120 days. It seemed like we had 5 public meetings on this where
Yeah.
it was on the agenda, and that I don't know that. Well, obviously there was an extension that was recommended on the pause, and that was by city staff through the year fiscal year,
Yep.
and expiring June 30th, 2026. So we now have an active extension of the pause through that time. There will be no implementation of the fee. In the meantime, you probably will follow, as a listener, you'll follow litigation. Maybe that proceeds further. Maybe that makes a court docket and is considered. The legislature, the 2026 legislature, will resume in the coming year, and they will sit. And Senator Gary Crum visited with us a few weeks back on the Talk Shop, and he noted a specific section B that clarifies that he plans on introducing in the legislature, that he and one other will author and sponsor, that will clarify the position that it should go to the voters,
yes,
and by the language that it was not to be subverted, it was not to be went around, and it wasn't to be in conflict. It was meant to adopt and follow the guidance in 1610-105.
yeah, that's the basis of that.
So in
Awesome.
that clarification's coming. And you know what? That's the greatest part of what it is we do in America, is that there are processes for these things, and albeit they don't always happen as timely as we might all like, but they are a process of diligence that can come about, and when you exhaust your remedies at one level, you have other levels that you can put the measure to the test, and so. But I want to go back to public involvement, because there are certain points in time where certain things could be maybe a different outcome if more people were involved earlier.
Yes, exactly.
I think that's really critical. But it sounds like your focus group members weren't exactly listened to fully.
No.
I mean, you were heard, but they didn't listen to you.
Yeah.
Is that the way to say it?
They basically had a focus group to tell us what they wanted to say, and they didn't really, focus on what we had to say. So
now that position, Tom, can't be popular. Your stance on that, your view on that, you can be in a town 50 years, 33 years in business, and 20 years in public service on commissions and you name it. You are an involved man. But you obviously have earned the right, through all your observation, through all your volunteer work, through all of your commitment to this community, to say your piece, haven't you?
Every citizen has the same right to speak as I do. Mm-hmm. They all do. And in the Planning Commission, most of our meetings, just nobody there. But when the public comes, throw that 3-minute rule out the window, speak your piece, and give us your name for the record and who's next. Yeah. We did that Monday night.
And as a chairman of that commission, it's your responsibility to keep order, right? So if somebody is repeating things that have been brought up, or they've made their point once, it's not a group where it has to be pounded in 17 times. No. Like sometimes we get city staff that get to talk laborious amounts of time, and they repeat and they repeat and they repeat and they pound, and then they strenuously, not only do they object, but they strenuously object to something when they don't feel the trend of the meeting is going in a certain direction. I've witnessed it plenty in 2 years of 80% attendance or better to the council meeting. That attendance has shown me that there's call for public comment, but there's not genuinely a want for public comment that's expressed by walking the talk of council in this case.
Well, that's because, and I think that attitude develops in the elected official when the public does not show up and do their job. Now,
who holds elected officials accountable?
The voters, the public.
They have to, right?
Yeah, and if you don't show up,
and in a republic,
what's the point?
And in a republic, if you remain engaged, you can do that on an ongoing basis.
Yes. You don't have to go to every city council meeting.
Yeah.
But you can watch it on YouTube.
Yep.
And you can send emails.
And you can even sit in and be active remotely.
Yes, you can.
You've done that too.
They the Planning Commission, and I don't think is on. Yeah, it's on Zoom. Yeah, we're on Zoom. So is the traffic board is on Zoom. All these boards and commissions.
Yeah, they're archiving those meetings electronically. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
it is a wonderful access piece. It is something that probably came strongly out of COVID, and from 2020 has only gotten stronger.
It's the best thing that came out of COVID.
It is probably one of the most powerful advantages to the community.
And all the city council meetings are also posted on YouTube. So you can watch the last week's meeting. And,
it's so easy. If you go into your search engine and you type Laramie City Council live stream, bam, it will bring you right to the spot. You don't have to search. You don't have to go to cityoflaramie.org and pull up and dive in and go multiple levels down. It brings you right to it. And if you don't find it readily available, I post on the Talk Shop pages, social media. I post the links to be active in the commissioners' meetings and of Albany County, and also the city council meetings and other pertinent meetings as they come up. I like to stay committed to the talk shop, listening, and learning along the way with the community. Not just to be a watchdog, but it is the role, I believe, of media to inform. And informing on, there's 360 degrees in every circle,
Yeah.
and on any given central point of a circle, there if a circle is one topic and it centers on topic after topic, you gotta recognize that there's going to be so many dynamic perspectives, and I just appreciate you talking so freely and openly about the welcoming posture of the Planning Commission. You sit on that with a number of other involved individuals, and recently you guys considered an initiative on a zoning change application, and I want to close this segment, and then we'll come back in a moment, and we'll talk more about that application that came into the commission, and what it was like to process as a leader of that commission. Tom Mattimore, our guest here on the Talk Shop today in Studio 255 at the Laramie Plains Civic Center. Our sponsor of this segment, Pole Mountain Pharmacy, dedicated to the health and wellness of Southeast Wyoming from their location at 4th and Harney. And our friends at Snowy Range Flea Market and Farm Stand, 1951 Snowy Range Road. You know, you can smile with Santa December 20th. That's Smile with Santa December 20th. That's a Saturday, 1951 Snowy Range Road. And it is going to be your opportunity to bring Santa your letters, youngsters. Bring Santa your wish list. And we'll see if we can't help Santa make those wishes come true.